How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, Professor. How you doing?
I'm splendid. Thank you for
Splendid.
asking.
Did you ever resolve that water dyslexia?
No, cállate. No, demon be gone. Okay, so what did you think about that Barbie movie?
It was fabulous. I
Why do you
loved
think
it.
it's fabulous?
It
Fabulous, fabulous.
fabuloso.
I
I
think
use
I just made up a new word. Fabulous.
I use that to clean my floors. But the Barbie movie,
Wrong. The hair pulling. Hey, can I get some scissors? No, I'm kidding.
the Barbie movie was fantastic. I really do believe that it lived up to its hype even more. We don't have the time nor energy today to get into the whole dichotomy of how it was so prolific and world changing and life changing. But let's just say I really appreciated what it did for women, what it also did for men, and what it did to just help people worldwide understand themselves better and the world around them
You know what it showed me?
more. What did it show you?
The Barbie movie showed me how absolutely dumb everybody was. Because, well, women have been dealing with this for hundreds of years,
Mm-hmm.
um, especially after they killed all the midwives and stole their knowledge and started the medical industry and raised the girls with the knowledge of being sublimated to men, which
Mm-hmm.
is what happened. And but we've been dealing with this. I mean, look, we weren't able to own property in the early 1900s. You know, we weren't able to vote. I mean, women are basically just like animals. And I know that some people think, oh, well, you know, white women
Mm-hmm.
have got it good. They think white women have got it good, right? Because they, for whatever reason, their whiteness is going to save them from all this misogyny. But that couldn't be a bigger lie
Mm-hmm.
because nothing was there to protect white women. Not
Mm-hmm.
affirmative action, not anything.
Mm-hmm.
And they could be beaten in their homes, and the cops don't care. And
Mm-hmm.
it's basically you're dealing with everything except the racism part, right? Everything except that second class citizen part. And I know that there's a lot of people who, you know, a lot of white women, especially white women who are from privileged backgrounds,
Yeah.
where they come from money. That scares me. Oh, you got that thing. You know, they come from money. They do have an incredible amount of more power than those of a lower socioeconomic
Mm-hmm.
status. So, but that's what I thought about the Barbie movie. I thought this is really good. This will bring awareness and all this. But I just asked myself, why didn't they come out with this in the 80s? You know, why didn't they come out with this and you know when I was being so sexually harassed at some of my jobs?
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, because the men get to go on like nothing happened to them. But the women, they have to deal with it. They have to deal with the trauma of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even sure a psychologist would have even listened to us back then. Because it's a man's world.
Yeah.
It's a white man's world.
How many
But the struggle goes on.
how many women directors did they have in the 80s? If you know off the top of your head.
I'm not a film school student.
Oh, I got you.
I don't think there were any
Really?
directors in the 80s. Like show directors, movie directors. No, I'm sure there weren't any.
I know the 2020s have a lot of their problems, but I'm glad that we have women directors because with that kind of movie, if a man did it, it would have no.
I think Penny Marshall was one of the first. Now, I could be totally wrong. This is not my area. I'm just going to come out and say this is not my area. But Penny Marshall, I think, was one of the first. You know, she was in Laverne and Shirley, and you know, turned out a force to be reckoned with. But she started. I don't know if I've even watched anything that Penny did, but I know she was one of the first directors. I was watching the Oscars recently, and I really loved it because there was a a presence of differences that were not,
Mhm.
traditional differences.
Yeah.
Which were wrong. Not to go off on that too far, but I don't know. Those are my thoughts. I mean, I thought it was good. Did I cry? No. It's kind of like old hat. I mean, I'm in my 60s now, and it's kind of like, yeah, I've been there and I've done that. And it's kind of like by the time you're my age, you just kind of go, that happened. I mean, you know what I mean? You're just kind of like, I'm not going to tear up and cry and do all this shit, but I can really appreciate that it really had an impact on you. And you're in your 20s, and so I really hope that it impacts a lot, which I'm sure it did. I think it did. But what do you want to talk about tonight?
I would like to talk about walk-ins today.
Walk-ins?
Yes.
What is a walk-in?
So, if you guys don't know, some of you guys may know because I find in the mainstream media in research source information, it's not really too prevalent. But a walk-in is basically, it's a soul that swaps.
You turn the music down just a bit.
Yeah. It swaps the we'll say ownership for just ease of clarity of the body. So just to sum it up, basically a walk-in is a soul that literally walks into another human body, hence the term walk-in. And so the original human soul of the body, most usually, has a soul contractual agreement with the other kind of soul. It could be angel-based, could be demon-based, could be alien-based. That's a whole nother separate discussion with subcultures and subcategories. But basically, with a walk-in, they just have an agreement, say human can't take this experience on Earth anymore. They finish over, and then the walk-in will clear or finish the karma of the original occupant, and then most usually the human soul will go on their little merry way.
Was it Marianne Brennan? Who was it? Back in the 90s, she had a presence on the, she still does.
Mm-hmm.
Who is it? Maybe you could look it up on your phone. The woman, Marianne Williamson, who talked about walk-ins. And you can look these up on the internet. It's WALK dash, you got a hyphenated in. So he walked in, some soul walks out of the body, another soul walks into the body who's got a contract, who has a mission. They have something to do. The biggest problem with being a walk-in is that you lose all your memories. And if you are an actual angel or a demon, you will kind of lose those powers and your memories upon entering the body.
Mm-hmm.
So you spend decades trying to remember who you are and trying to make sense of it. Because I know one of the biggest things that happened to me when I walked in was I went to a home to a family that I didn't know. I mean, I knew of them. I knew what I was told of them. But I walked in way earlier than I was supposed to. I walked in at the age of 8. And so it was quite traumatic. What about you? What did you...
My walk-in experience, I came into this body around 14 or 15, so I was a bit, I don't know if luckier is the word, but my body was more developed. But when I came in, it was really hard for me. I really didn't realize it until years later because during the middle of that, I was caught up in all these feelings and emotions. I mean, puberty's hard enough. Add on some spiritual whole fucking dissonance on top of that, and here we go, you know. So my case was a little bit different too because my occupant or the original souls still had some more to learn, and he stayed for around 7-8 years after the original walk-in occurrence, and let's say trying to cram two people into one jumpsuit, so to speak, it's not a nice experience. So
Right.
yeah.
What was some of the cognitive dissonance that you experienced?
The cognitive dissonance that I experienced, it was you just feel constantly torn. Well, I don't even want to. In the cognitive dissonance that I experienced when that happened, I'm rolling my eyes because if only you guys could have a what is it, film-like experience over that part of my life. It was really hard. I don't want to bring into the whole realm of mental illness into this kind of discussion right now because that's a whole separate topic. But basically, you kind of feel it can feel like you're crazy because you'll feel like you're one person one day and then you're somebody the next. But if the original occupant is still there, it's like, oh my god, who are these two fucking people? It's like it's kind of it's almost like a spiritual werewolf moment where you'll just, if one phases out, one takes over, and it's like,
So if one gets tired, then the other.
mm-hmm.
Now I know you'd said, um, correct me if I shouldn't divulge this,
Mm-hmm.
but you'd said that you saw yourself doing things you didn't want to do.
Yes, exactly. And with context of that, like we're not doing like super illegal stuff or anything like that. It's more so just stuff like I wouldn't really necessarily do on my own.
Like you
Or
binge eating dinner.
yes, like I would just like I would have like a healthy weight or a healthy eating style, and then like I would phase out and I could still see through my eyes, but I would be raging. I would be just angry at people for no reason. I would just binge eat a lot, like a lot of toxic and negative habits and things like those. And it's just like you feel like you're kind of just on autopilot. And you have not like you have no control.
Huh. That's really. I know there's a group on Facebook called Walk-ins Among Us. And there's a lot of different people have a lot of different experiences with it. Some are called blended souls. Some call themselves braided souls, with maybe even 2 or 3 souls in a body. I mean, this is a psychiatrist's dream, but then again, a psychiatrist wouldn't understand.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think I was one of the lucky people where, well, luck. That's really a
Arguable word.
yeah, it is very arguable. But I remember waking up in a hospital, and my body was 8 years old, and then I it was Halloween night, 1970. Kids, they were making a lot of noise, and they were doing that. You know that I don't know if you know about this. There was this round metal thing.
Yeah. I remember those. Yeah.
And the kids were running in my room,
Mm-hmm.
and they were doing those noises. And I remember woke up. I went in for a tonsillectomy, and after I got out of recovery, I was in my room, and the noises, they're screaming and laughing and eating candy, and I was like going, oh wow. And I sat bolt upright, not like somebody who had just come out of surgery, not like somebody who was sleeping off anesthesia. It was like I just sat up in my bed, like boom, right. And I heard the kids, and I was like, oh wow, looks like I missed Halloween, right? Because they cue you before you come in here. It's kind of like being dropped into a paratrooper being dropped into Germany during World War II, right? And you've got your story down, you've got your identity, and you know your whole script that you're supposed to go on. But at the same time, you're forgetting who you are, and any abilities that you might have had before that are non-accessible. Excuse me. So my sister was jumping up and down on the bed next to me, and I was like, "Oh, that must be so and so." And I had this memory. Oh, she's always jumping on the bed. You know, this caused problems in the past for her. before
Mhm.
them. And then I noticed the glass wall between the beds, and I was like, wow, this must be some sort of germ protection device. That's very clever.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. Because I wasn't 8 years old.
Mhm.
I was like I am now,
Yeah.
except I was in this new strange universe. And so I thought that was very clever. And, why don't they have glass walls in between hospital beds now? That would just cut down on so much germ. Because, I mean, it went way up, man. It was up like 8 to 9 feet.
Mhm.
And the hospital room was probably 10 foot tall.
Mhm.
But then after all that, I noticed the television in the corner. And it was black and white. It was up on the near the ceiling. It had rounded corners. And I remember feeling my heart sink in my chest. I was crestfallen. And the next thought was, they sent me back too far. Number one, who the fuck is they?
Mhm.
Okay, why am I saying they sent me back too far? And what the fuck is happening right now?
Mhm.
Because I don't remember that I'm a walk-in.
Mhm.
All I know is that this is a strange new environment, but like a seasoned soldier,
Mhm.
I just start, this one thing I really respect about soldiers, being like one myself. It's like you're so conditioned to
Mhm.
just hit the ground running
Mhm.
that you're not even thinking about your cognitive dissonance of
Mhm.
why are these thoughts going through my head? This is madness.
Mhm.
So then I went home and the house was in turmoil because within the last year the father had died.
Mhm.
I think he had died at Thanksgiving. And I know that the girl who I replaced was very close to her father
Mhm.
and devastated by his death.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing is, the really crazy thing is, about 2 weeks later, this guy dressed all in black, who looked like Johnny Cash, came for me. I was on a different plane of existence, and I was in like this mansion type thing, and he said, okay, it's time for us to go.
Mhm.
And I looked at him, and I was like going, I know who this is. I knew that it was Satan.
Yeah.
And I could feel this incredible negativity. And I'm sitting there, I mean, I'm looking at an 8-year-old body, and I'm sitting here processing so fast
Mhm.
what is happening right now.
Mhm.
And he just kind of looked at me. I said, I'm not going with you anywhere. And he just kind of went, what? Like, I mean, if anybody made Satan go, what? It was me, right? Because he's like looking at me like, what? And then
Yeah.
he got angry, and he turned back and he said, no, you're coming with me, or I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm sitting here going, I'm almost laughing at this point because
Mhm.
I know that I'm stronger than him.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here going, probably now is not a good moment to laugh.
Mhm.
But I'm not going with this bitch anywhere,
Mhm.
right? And so then I heard these people. There was like, I felt like a group of people over here to my left.
Mhm.
So I got these double doors behind me. I'm like in a Dracula's mansion or something. It's really weird.
Mhm.
Except it's very well lit. And so there's whispering voices over here, and they said, you're contracted on the side of the light, and so you can't change contract, you can't change sides once you're in a body.
Yeah.
And I was like going, oh, okay. So I told him, well, we're speaking in our thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I told him, I regurgitated what they just said. I said, I'm contracted on the side of the light, and I can't change sides.
Mhm.
So no, I'm not coming with you.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
And then he got really mad. I mean, it's like, a cartoon where you see the steam coming out of his ears. And he turns, at first he had faced me,
Mm-hmm.
but then he started to turn because he's done this a million times. You can tell.
Yeah.
He was expecting me to go with him, which means he had a prior deal with the original person in the body to go with him at a certain age if he had given them what they wanted.
Yeah.
So my guess is that she wanted her dad back, right? I don't know how that really worked out for her because I didn't talk to her. She was completely gone. She wasn't blended or dual or anything. She was completely gone. I couldn't consult her. But he had turned away from me like, okay, come on, like follow me. And then he's still kind of facing me kind of at an angle. But now that I told him I'm not going with you anywhere, I can't change sides, then he squares off with me. And he's staring at me and he's extremely angry. And he's like moving his right arm saying, I'm going to kill you and it's going to be extremely painful. And then over the room to, I'm him right now, staring at myself. There was a TV, from my perspective, over there on the other side of the whispering people.
Yeah.
Let's call them, for lack of a better guides. There was a black and white TV with the rounded corners. You know, one of those old jobs that sit on the floor. It was like a monster. And on top of it was this black obelisk. It was pointed, not like our monuments here or like in Egypt, where they're like
a triangle.
Yeah, it's
Pyramid
not
style.
like that. This was like an obelisk from Mexico, where it went up to an actual point. There was no cap or like a thing at the top.
Yeah.
And he showed me in my mind that he's gonna impale me on that, and it was probably 2 foot tall on top of the TV, which is appropriate. So then I felt myself being lifted up, and I was floating. He pulled me over the TV. The obelisk is right under me, and so I'm just kind of floating in the air right now. And then I can feel the whispering people over here, and I'm like, I don't know what to do at this point. They said, you're contracted on the side of the light. It's impossible to change sides once you're in a body. So it's okay if he kills you. Right? And so I repeated that to him. And I was like going, look, I almost felt sorry for him at this point. I was like, look, I'd like to help a guy out.
You're barking up the wrong tree, sweetheart.
But I'm contracted on the side of the light. I can't change sides because I'm in the body. So go ahead and kill me because I don't want to be here anyway.
Exactly.
And then I thought, okay, I'm going to die now. But he literally put his head down like this. He just put his head down and he turned and walked out these double doors on the other side of the room that had this crushing black terror. That's his energy. Crushing black terror. I can't get the same light. Oh well, do the best I can. So then I found myself back in my reality, whatever that was. So that was about 2 weeks after I walked in. So I understood the reason I had to come in early, because I was like, they sent me here too early. The reason I had to was because he was going to literally abscond with my fucking body. And a bitch ain't taking my body. And so that's what happened for me. And then it's just been one roller coaster right after that. And then I went home with the family, and the mother was distraught. Kids were distraught. Everybody, it was basically chaos and mayhem. And, here's this woman who had relied heavily on the husband to control 3 torch children, right? And she was ill-equipped. Yeah. She just wasn't. And so she was having a hard time doing everything. She couldn't. It was like she was so stressed out because she had to go to work immediately. Evidently, the life insurance wasn't enough to live on, as it wouldn't have been back in those days. just enough to make a few corrections around the house and stuff like that. But she would come to me and she'd just kneel down. She'd say, "What should I do? Tell me what to do." And then I would just start giving her advice. And then my sister's like asking me, "Well, what should I do when I grow up?" And here I am. That was my first experience as a life coach, right? I'm like, well, just figure out what you want to do and then do that. I don't know what I want to do. Can you tell me what to do? And I'm like, no, you have to discover it on your own. How the fuck is an 8-year-old going to be life coaching people?
That would happen to me too a lot when I was a teenager.
Right?
I would just be walking down the street or going to the grocery store, some random little old lady or random recently divorced husband or whatever. They'll be like,
tell me this.
They would come up and they would be like, I've never told anybody else this, but blank. And I'm standing there, hands on the cart, got my, or I'm at the convenience store and I got my banana or my Gatorade and I'm just standing there. I'm like, why is this woman trauma dumping on me?
I love
I'm like,
this.
I'm about to check out. She's talking about how her husband did blank and blank and blank.
You kept all this a secret from me.
It comes and it goes. My data bank is too expansive.
I totally understand.
I'd be waiting for 3 years.
Right.
But I would just sit there and I'd be like, sometimes I would give advice, sometimes I would just sit there and listen. But I would just think, I'm like an 18-year-old, 19-year-old boy. I'm literally like some college pothead. And I'm just like, I'm just sitting there, I'm like, honey, I am too high for this. Why are you telling me all this?
Right?
Exactly. I'm here to get these Funyuns or these Hershey's, and you're sitting there.
I'm about to defile myself further.
Exactly. And I'm standing there high as a motherfucker, and this lady's talking about how her mom sold her and did all this and that. What? And it's just like, I'm standing there, and I'm like, huh? And I'm just...
Do you need me to call 911 right now?
I know, and she's like, and then like, by the time I get to the checkout counter, I'm just like, well, good luck with that. She's like, thank you for listening. I'm like, I'm like, you didn't really give me an option.
She probably never told another human being that.
Exactly.
Her mom fucking sold her?
Or just like I'm just listing off like random traumatic stuff. Like, people would just tell me the most obscure things, like their mom or dad would abuse them in the basement, and I'm like, what?
There's no way you're gonna feel crazy after listening to all this.
Yeah, and I'm just standing there like, I'm like, I got a midterm in 5 minutes. I don't think I have the space for this.
Right?
And it's just like...
But you don't want to be rude.
Exactly, so it's like you just stand there like an emoji and you're just like, okay, well, good luck. Bye. And I would just... I don't know, maybe people sense what kind of soul I was before I ever knew. Subconsciously, so they just would come up to me and they'll be like, please help me with this random bullshit I'm going through. I've had people from my high school who would, like, for example, I remember I went to this one dude's house and we were smoking weed, and some people from my high school who were in a class or a grade above, they came over and they visited and said, you know what, I never told anybody else this before. And I'm sitting at that dinner table after eating what is it called? Feta cheese pie or whatever the fuck, and I'm sitting there high as a kite, and it's just like he's saying like, I've never told anybody else this, and I'm like, and it's like, no offense to what this guy was going through, but I mean, like, it wasn't some huge world-shattering shit, and I was like, cool story, bro, cool story. And I'm just sitting there and I'm just like, well, good luck with that, buddy, good luck. I'm gonna go get high some more. So, and it's just, it was people not all the time, I'm exaggerating, but like every now and then just some random motherfucker would just come up and be like, blah 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 blah, lifetime Hallmark mommy dearest moment, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, good luck. And I would walk, and I would just be like, well, good luck with that. And then I would just go on the class and I would tell my friends, I'd be like, this lady told me the most random fucking shit just now, and they'll be like, that happens to me too. So.
And you went to a private high school, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like a Catholic.
Yeah.
So would you qualify yourself as a recovering Catholic?
Yes, I'm a religious trauma survivor. Wow. For sure. It's just like,
Here's to that.
Yeah. Clink. Yes.
You have to drink, it's bad luck.
I know. Yeah. But God, it's just, I think the Roman...
Drink.
Do they have confession in Christian churches? Or is that a Catholic thing?
No, that's Catholic.
Oh my God. I'm telling you, the whole experience about confession is such
That's
a weird
totally
thing.
bad luck right now. You have to take a sip.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, no bad luck.
Slurp.
No bad luck in the podcast. Good. Thank
But
you.
one of the things around my religious trauma was just, I think it is so awkward for an 8-year-old, a 10-year-old, 12-year-old, whatever age you are. You're this little kid, you have no concept or real understanding of what guilt, of what sin is, and you're walking into some random fucking 65-year-old man who's has this horrible raspy cough on the other side. You can know who priest it is by how thick their mucus is. And
Wow.
you just sit in there and you're on your knees in your most vulnerable moment, and you're with this random old man and you're just telling him about your sins, and you're just like, I did X, Y, and Z, and it's like, or I masturbated or something like that. You know how awkward that is for a 12-year-old child to tell some old man that they don't even know that they jerked off, or like, and if it's not even that, imagine how
As if masturbation was actually wrong.
exactly. If you didn't already feel awkward in your body enough, you go up to some random person with this random guilt consciousness,
Wow.
and you're talking to the 65-year-old man, and imagine what perspective he was in too. Because I remember when I told that to a priest, he was like, 6 Hail Marys, have a good day. So because it's like why does a 65-year-old man need to know what a child is doing? And it's
He's
like,
probably over there whacking off himself while you're talking. I mean, they're Catholics, right? I mean, no offense against you, staunch Catholics out there, but it's not something I'm making up. This is actually a thing.
Yeah, and he's over there and he's like, I didn't expect the kid to finish his list so soon. I'm not done yet. But anyways, it's just, I'm just sitting in this little this confessional booth, which, I mean, like, outside of my own personal trauma, love the decor of the church. That confessional booth was so aesthetic. Loved it. But outside of that, oh my God.
So creepy.
Yes, and there was no air conditioning in there
Oh my
either.
God,
I'm
so fucked up.
sweating while I'm telling my sins to some stranger. And I get out there feeling like I've had a lifetime, or what is it, a TLC confessional moment. And then I go again and do it the next fucking week or the next 2 weeks after that. God, no wonder our generation has so much
And
generalized.
what would have happened? Okay.
Mhm.
What would have happened if you'd have said, "I didn't do anything wrong"?
I think they would have gave me some kind of spiel like, well, we're all sinners, or we're not perfect, or we all have done things wrong. And it's just like, I sit there and I'm just like, I remember when I was baptized, I think it was third grade, and this was probably like the other person's thoughts, not even mine, but it's just like, it's so weird. It's like, I don't care how organized your religion is, it comes to a point, no matter what age you're at, where you stand there and you just think, this feels like a cult. It's like, you just sit there. It's like, I remember in third grade, I was being baptized, or whatever grade I was being baptized. It was me and these two other boys, fucking church of 100, 200 people, 300 people staring at us. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Why are all these people staring at me?
And you didn't know you were going to get baptized that day?
I knew, but it's like, it was so weird. It's like they pour the oil and the water over my head, and it's like your original sin is cleansed of you, and I'm like, there's nothing wrong with me. I don't, what sin are you talking about? I'm just a child. And it's like,
And you don't remember your age at that time.
how old are third graders? 10, 11?
Yeah.
Something
9,
like that?
9.
Yeah. And
8. Well, third grade would be 9.
I'm just standing there and I'm just like, I remember I had so much anxiety because all these bitches are staring at me.
Well, they do say, in Mormonism, they say that 8 is the age of reckoning, where you understand the difference between right and wrong.
Uh-huh.
That's the age that I was when Satan came to pick me up. Because I guess they're not allowed to pick you up before that date.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know the difference between right and wrong, and that's how it gets you.
It was just so fucking weird, and I remember I almost got confirmation. Does Christianity have confirmation?
No.
Catholics are so
Protestants.
Protestants.
It's still Christianity. Catholics
God.
are Christian,
Okay.
designated Christian, but Protestants are designated just
This
Protestant Christian.
You really know it's the Roman Catholic because what are Romans without their rituals? So it's like, I remember I never went through my confirmation.
Well, mine was weird too. My baptism was weird too.
What was your baptism like?
Well, you're 12, you turn 12.
Mm-hmm.
So they wait 4 years for the devil to get you, right? And then if the devil hasn't gotten you by then, I know my mom was like, go down and accept Jesus at the altar when I turned 12. And then I went down and I went through the motions and stuff like this, although I didn't really feel like I was doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, I wasn't really, I was a good kid.
Yeah.
I wasn't really doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like the next week. It was like I'm up in the front of the church, right behind where I was Nazarene. I was raised Nazarene.
Mm-hmm.
So behind the minister, the pulpit, the choir,
Mm-hmm.
there's like this swimming pool.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm up there. I'm like wearing jeans or something. I don't know. And I'm like walking, and the minister is there, and I'm just like going, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
And I look out, and this is a big church
Mm-hmm.
with probably 300-400 people watching.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? And so I walk down these stairs into this little swimming pool, and he's just like dunking me completely, right? Because Protestants believe in full immersion, like John the Baptist did for Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And then you walk up the stairs on the other side, and then somebody's got extra clothes for you.
Mm-hmm.
But it was so fucking weird to put a kid through that.
I know.
Because you're just kind of like going, this is a very private, personal moment. This is a very private, personal, and I didn't even fully understand it. I didn't fully understand it.
That's the weird thing about religion. It's like I really don't understand. It's like I think we should just allow our kids to discover their own personal practice and belief.
That's what I did for my son.
Because it's like you sit there, and I remember, because in 8th grade at this school, they would have us go up for mass and read from the scriptures instead of the priest doing it. I don't know. They want us to be involved or whatever. And I just remember reading it, and I was like, I don't even believe or even understand fully what the fuck I'm reading to these 300 people. So it's like,
That's intense.
it's like you're forcing me to be a minister over something I don't even understand. And it's like...
That's like, now that's like, it's not confirmation. It's when a Jewish child, when they're 13.
Yeah, and they go read the Torah.
Yeah, with their voice cracking and everything. They get them.
Yeah, their bar
right
mitzvah.
when their voice is cracked. Yeah, bar mitzvah thing.
Yeah.
I didn't know Catholics did that.
It was my church or my school did it. It was really weird, and I never received my confirmation. For people who don't know what confirmation is in Catholicism, it's basically when you receive the Holy Spirit or something to that effect. And I never received mine because I was in high school and I didn't really believe in all of it. And I was just like, I was sitting there and I'm like, I never really rocked or went with this religion. My parents just did it.
Right.
Because my parents too, they were backslide Catholics.
Right.
So
they're hypocrites.
Yes, exactly. They kind of just did it because the community was doing it.
Right.
So it's just like it was the
Boy, that's a bad precedent to start a child on. Do it, go along with the crowd, and do it because everybody else is doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh yeah, let's do that. Let's make strong thinking children. You know, just like with the vaccine, let's do it because everybody else is doing it. Now they're dropping dead like flies.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so it is quite a trauma. You know, and even being told, go down and accept Jesus as your personal savior.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like going, it never occurred to me to do that on my own.
Exactly.
Of course, I was 12. Maybe I was slow. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I didn't. I mean, I was going to private Christian schools at the time.
They don't even give you a chance to discover who Jesus is before you accept him. It's like, it reminds you of that one episode of Sabrina, the Teenage Witch. Well, the remake, not the original. And they go up on her 16th birthday and they make her write her name in Satan's book. And
I know.
And it's like, I don't know who this person is. For all I know, your Jesus could be Satan. And you're making me go up and say, you're my savior? The fuck?
Yeah, it can be really messed up.
It's like, if the church wasn't useful to our government or to whoever the powers to be, they would have disbanded that thing a long time ago.
Well, I think there's some value. I mean...
Oh, for sure.
I really crave a theological education.
Yeah.
I know after I walked in, I mean, they had me memorize. My mom had me memorizing Bible verses from the age of like 4 or 5, and she'd taken us to church that long. And we had this thing called caravans, and all the kids went there until they were like 12 or 13.
Yeah.
And then they went upstairs to join the adults. But I just came in knowing that I needed to study that. So she sent me to a private Protestant school, a Mennonite school, and I got an excellent education. It was wonderful. And I learned the Bible, and it was nice because the Mennonites teach you the Bible. They just teach you theology. They don't really go into a lot of weird fucking business. They're just like, okay, this is just the scripture. This is what it means. Blah blah blah. It was kind of like being in a, what do you call one of those schools? A preparatory school. And it was a Mennonite preparatory school for missionaries' kids, for future missionaries. We had chapel every day, and missionaries would come in, and they would talk about casting out demons, get thrown across the room and shit. I mean, that shit's real. And I remember just being I wanted to become a nun so badly. I wanted to get away from this family, this crazy fucking family, and everybody's fighting and screaming all the time, vying for power. And I'm just like, get me the fuck out of here. But unfortunately, that was no longer a boarding school.
Yeah.
So I was envious of kids who could go to boarding school, but I've heard those are bad experiences too. The kids at this school were really nice, though. Everybody was really cool. There wasn't any bullying or anything like that. But I just wanted to learn theology. And then after I got out of college, I went back and learned more theology.
Yeah.
It was like I was obsessed with the idea. But I wasn't craving so much that religious dogmatic experience. I was craving a mystical experience. Because I know the girl that I replaced was dogged by nightmares every single night. She had nightmares of the end of the world. I remember having this dream every night where it was like we had been bombed and it was all ruins, and everybody's running around like that one episode of Batman when you've got that psychiatrist from Arkham Asylum, and he does that chemical weapon, and he makes everybody crazy and they kill themselves. And they also made a movie like that too with Samuel Jackson. It was called The Kingsman.
I remember that movie.
Right, the cell phone triggered a thing, and then they all started killing each other. Right, but this girl was having this dream when she's like 6 years old, right? And then her, dreaming of her sister's going to stab her. She has to stab, and everybody's insane, and everybody's killing everybody. It was just like that whole Arkham Asylum thing. And when I saw that Arkham Asylum Batman, was it Michael Douglas? I think it could have been Michael Douglas. God, forgive me, Michael Douglas. Michael Keaton. He was like the best Batman. I don't give a shit what anybody says. And I was like, oh my God, this is just like that dream. And I would wake up screaming, and because my sister was going to stab me because she was affected by the chemical. I was not affected by the chemical. Everybody else was. And so I was trying to hide because I couldn't stomach the thought of killing anybody. Yeah. So right when I was like either had to stab them or they stabbed me, I'd wake up and I'd run in and I'd tell my parents, oh my God, I had this nightmare. And of course, what are they going to say? Nothing. They say, oh, I'm so sorry you had that bad dream. Go back to sleep. Right, and I'd go back to sleep, and it would pick up right where it left off.
Oh, I remember those.
And it would go over and over. And then Men in Black looking for me in the Sears and Roebuck, by the clothes round. My mom would walk so fast, and she would change departments. She wouldn't say, oh, come on, I'm going to the next apartment. She would just take off,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's like she was trying to lose me or something. Because I know she knew that I was a walk. I know
Oh,
she knew I
yeah.
was, what do they call us? A changeling. That's our official title.
Mm-hmm.
Back from Ireland.
That's right. When the fairies steal the baby.
We are changelings. That's
Mm-hmm.
right. The baby's taken and somebody's replacing it.
Mm-hmm.
And these men in black with big old daggers would be trying to stab me, and they had hats and everything, and I'm like, later I'm looking back and I'm like going, so in 1968, how the fuck would I know about men in black? How the fuck would I know about the end of the world?
Mm-hmm.
So this little girl was pumping out these prophetic dreams.
Yeah.
So this is what my guess was.
Mm-hmm.
Satan wanted that little girl's body.
Yep.
He would have done anything to get it, which is now my body.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had to complete her karma and the trauma that happened to her as a child. But I switched over so he couldn't get my body. And I mean, I'll tell you, I know Satan is real. Anybody who sits there and says Satan isn't real hasn't actually met him. Because the bitch tried to take my body years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like 4 years ago tried to take my body. So the guy's real. He's got kids. His name is Enki from the Sumerian pantheon. Loki. And, but yeah, so, I mean, there's probably a lot of walk-ins that are going to end up listening to this video someday. And I'll put walk-ins in the title.
Mm-hmm.
So people will know, oh my God, we got to hear about these stories.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I'm so glad. Thank you so much for telling me about your story and sharing that stuff about those people coming up, because I didn't hear that from you before. I mean, we just talked about the negativity, about your past soul, and oh my God, this guy D is amazing. He got rid of that other soul, very dysfunctional.
God.
Very dysfunctional person.
It's like if a Tyler Perry movie or play was demonic. It's like,
right?
God, every day is just new fucking thing, new chaos, new horrible life.
But congratulations to you for getting rid of that on your own.
I need to get myself a birthday cake.
You fucking will. That's right.
I need a cake.
That's right. We'll do a cake. You can do a cake. Come over here.
Yeah.
And everything. Get some of this wicked vodka.
Yeah.
I mean, what is this shit? This is good.
This is good.
All right, but yeah, the walk-in experience is real. Your braided soul, blended soul, whatever. If you're getting along with, I know several people who are blended souls, and they're kind of having that little bit of a conflict with their other soul.
Mm-hmm.
And this may sound religious, but I'm just like, ask Jesus to help you get rid of them.
Mm-hmm. That's all you can do.
They're not supposed to be there anymore.
Exactly.
And if they're not supposed to be there anymore, they're not supposed to be there anymore. And just ask the Father. Don't ask God, because who is God? Jehovah.
That's right.
Who is God?
That's right.
Satan, the God of the Old Testament.
Careful when you pray and you ask for God, because you never know who's going to show up.
Do not ask for God, because that's the jealous God who will have no other gods before him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the Father. Jesus always prayed for the Father. So the Father, Jesus, Gabriel. I work personally with Gabriel, who told Mary that she was pregnant with Jesus. He's not like the rest of them. And, but man, it's a real experience. And if you've had a walk-in experience, please feel free to comment below, hit subscribe, hit like, help this channel take off, because we've got a lot of good shit we want to share with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not following any rules. We don't give a shit about, podcast rules and YouTube rules. And any of this fucking crap. We're just like keeping it real, bitch.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's fucking right.
Just keeping it real.
Yeah. And if you guys are interested in further walk-in experiences or videos, or we might even, if we take off more, we might even do a Q&A video one day about walk-ins. So if you guys are interested in that, just, put your piece in the comments, and we'll be more than happy to read it and read about your experiences.
Yeah. So, do you have anything else you want to recap?
I think I'm good.
Are you?
I emptied my cup.
I think I'm good.
I
think I'm good. I'm going to empty another cup. I'm going to empty another.
Yeah. Cheers.
Okay. Here's to walk-ins. Cheers.
Bang.
Fucking bitches. Okay, well, I guess we'll see you next week if you're lucky, and we're not dead or something like that.
Yeah, who knows?
Maybe our corpses will log on.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Mm.
Night of the Living Dead.
Mm. I
Take
could
care.
use a new body.
Peace.